is 4, and today we're going to be talking about why I am not going to be doing a low buy or a no buy at this moment in time. I'm sorry for the incendiary photographs for the thumbnail, pun intended, but I know that a lot of people are going through a lot of stress, and I'm not wanting to throw shade on anybody who is doing a low buy or a no buy. I just wanted to walk you through the psychology where I'm at, why I decided not to do one. And there are multiple reasons. Some of them are very practical, and then some of them are very more psychological or emotional. So let's get into it. Now, the reason people might do a low buy. Some people are finding that they're overwhelmed with the amount of makeup that they have currently. Or the amount of makeup that is being given them to consume in advertising. They feel a sense of clutter, either in their own physical makeup collection or mental clutter, where they feel like there's a pressure to look at things, review things, watch things, and for some people who are just consumers, clutter in the email. They're getting so many emails and so much product that's been being marketed to them that they feel a sense of the physical clutter in their inbox, but also that psychological clutter and overwhelm. And overwhelm can be pretty serious this time of year. There's so much going on, so many pressures, and that pressure to get the perfect gift is just one of them, or to try new things that you've never tried before, or to give you a sense of an emotion that you would like to have that you feel like you're not getting from your real life. Other times people have an addiction issue. They feel that need to do more and more. I used to do a little, but a little wouldn't do it, so a little got more and more. I sometimes feel that I have a somewhat addictive personality occasionally, and I can kind of tell when this is coming into play because I feel a sense of being driven. They used to talk about if you were being, ridden by demons, like that sense of pressure of must. And it usually doesn't have anything to do at that point in time with me having a thing, the beautiful makeup piece. It doesn't matter if I get it or not. I can get it, and then I'm still feeling that pressury feeling, and then I have that aha moment in my head is like, oh, this is not about the makeup. This is about something else. So maybe you should just, brew a nice cup of tea, take a moment, and really get in touch with yourself and see what's going on. And sometimes we're just bored. We want a diversion, and so we buy things, and so we decide that we don't want to be just needlessly spending money for a diversion, and so we're going to do a no buy or a low buy. But right now, none of these elements are really in play so much for me. So I always like to do the caveat at this time because, things can change in an instant, of course. And so it's that idea that at this moment, I am choosing to not be on a low buy and to spend money in a thoughtful manner. So I'm going to go first into this idea of I'm looking for a middle road. I've gone through the poverty mindset for many years where there wasn't any money to get anything or a limited amount of money to get things. And so that idea of a low buy or a no buy, that was life. That was Tuesday, And so the problem is then a lot of times when you get money, without those very stringent parameters, you feel that need to go, like kids that were never allowed to do anything when they were younger, have sugar or whatever. They go to college and they completely lose their mind because there's nobody there to tell them that they can't have ice cream for breakfast if they want, and so they do. So I feel like that poverty mentality sometimes hovers in the background and we don't realize it's there until we kind of feel that sense of needy. That we were needing or wanting something, or we're wanting that comfort of something that comes from being able to have things, to, buy something without thinking about it or without checking your bank account to make sure that you have enough money to get gas to go to work. That poverty mentality of always being on the lookout for things, or the inverse, always, being free of constraints and wanting more and more. Somewhere in that middle road is where I want to be, where I feel like I'm taking care of my mental health by having this idea of I'm an average shopper, I'm an average thinker, I'm an average worker, I'm an average buyer. So that idea of a middle road where it's like I pick up nice things when I'm finding that this is something that I've really thought about and wanted. So I'm not diving into the poverty mentality of I can't have anything, because anytime I seem to really go, okay, we're going to go on a low buy or a no buy, I get that idea of white knuckling it, and usually what that means is a bounce back reaction that at some point in time I'm going to break, and I'm going to break hard. I'm going to buy all the things because I have been buying none of the things. So I'd like to have an even keeled mental attitude to it where I'm looking for that middle road. And the low buy and the no buy generally is a white knuckling that ends up turning out badly for me. So I would rather make thoughtful purchases along the way and be able to enjoy my life and the beautiful things, as opposed to being at one end or the other of the spectrum of obvious horrible consumption to no consumption and poverty. So that's the first one. The second thing is right now, because it's going into the holidays, there are some incredible sales. You may have heard the story about a person who is a worker who wants to buy a pair of boots, but they can't afford the outlay for a really good pair of boots, and so they buy not a very good pair of boots, and it doesn't last throughout the year, and so every year they're having to rebuy a pair of boots. Whereas if they had just had the money to be able to buy the good boots could have lasted them years. So I feel like that's part of the issue with this time of year and with money, is if you have the money and you know you were going to spend it and you figured out and you saved it, that it's in your budget naturally with where your budget lies. This point in the year is the time where really good sales happen for things you might need or really want. And so to pick up skincare items or things that refresh, foundation, something that may be going on super sale is a lot better financial sense than going throughout the year and trying to pay full price for something. If we can help it, we never really want to pay full price if at all possible, unless we're, of course, proceeds go to charity or something like that. I paid full price and didn't bat an eye for the Rare Beauty lip product because the sales were going to mental health. So I feel like that's the point in time where I can say yes, full price. But for the most part, we shouldn't pay full price if we don't have to. And this time of the year is the time for deep, deep discounts coming up into Black Friday. So I want to be able to take advantage of those sales while they happen, because I can buy things that I'm going to buy anyway, that I'm going to replenish, or that could be gifting too. But things that I'm going to replenish for the great sales that happen, I want to be doing that. Or I want to be buying items that are like the work boot kind of analogy. Things that are higher priced, that are good quality, that I want to get now when there's the potential of a sale, that I want to be investing in that. Now, none of my other makeup purchases are investments. This makeup channel does not make money. I pay for all the makeup out of my own pocket, except for that which is gifted to me by my friends. And so, I can't say that buying makeup is an investment. These are things that are going to age out. I'm not going to be keeping them generally as an item that I intend to sell. I don't do any makeup sales on Mercari or Poshmark or anything like that. All of my makeup that I declutter is either thrown away or gifted. So none of this is really an investment. It's a perishable item. It doesn't really, increase in monetary for any of my items that I would care to part with. So it's not like I'm making an investment anyway. So what I like to think about is more of an embracing a Vegas mindset. And this is Vegas in a good way, because we know that Vegas can go bad quickly, as far as, gambling. Because Charles Barkley always says he's got a gambling issue, but when asked if gambling was a problem, he says it's not a problem if you can afford it. But he has mentioned that it's kind of a bad habit, not a really good one to get into, but that whole, it's not a problem if you can afford it. But the other part that I'm really wanting to talk about with the Vegas aspect is how you can go to Vegas, and if you have a set amount of money that you kind of see as your entertainment, and that's all you're going to spend. You're not going to leverage out your credit cards or anything like that else when you're there. You're figuring, I have X amount of money that I'm going to spend in entertainment. And it's the same kind of money that I would spend if I went to a show or I went to something else. But in this case, I'm going to be using it to bet on the table. And I'm not going to get into the gambler's fallacy. Well, I was like, I'm on a lucky streak. I'm just going to keep going and spending. Or my luck has been bad, but it's got to change sometime. It's like, that's the gambler's fallacy. It's always at 50-50 whether you're going to win or lose. So if you just go about it like, this is my entertainment budget, then you're good to go. So for me, thinking about makeup as my entertainment, this is what I like to do. I like to have fun with. I like to spend copious amounts of my free time, putting things on my face, and it's so, instead of maybe, going to the movies or doing something else, like, this is part of my entertainment. So if I can just see this part as, this is part of my entertainment budget, my makeup is, it has its own category of makeup, to be clear, but that I'm using it as an entertainment, that's what I expect out of it, is to be entertained for a certain dollar amount. Then it's easier for me to say, okay, this is my entertainment budget, this is my constraint for it, but it's for fun. I'm increasing my fun. And that helps to kind of tamp down that idea of feeling limited or too structured. It's like, oh, I've got this entertainment money, I can just put this towards this. And it's always the question of, can you regulate that? If you're, if you have an issue with alcohol, can you go to the bar to sing karaoke and have a drink, or not have a drink and just sing karaoke and be the designated driver? Or can you not even come into the doors because you're going to be in trouble, because you can't negotiate that not drinking? And the same thing is overspending with makeup. It doesn't make any sense to, step your toe into Sephora if you're not going to be able to leave with, without dropping $400. That's madness. Or opening the app if you can't close the app without having spent $400. But if you can regulate it, and I find again that I'm able to regulate more if it's an idea of, I'm not white knuckling it, but I'm making thoughtful choices. I'm not just buying something because it's on sale, but I'm buying something because I was intending to buy it anyway, and now it's on sale. So that's the question of, can you regulate that? And if the answer is yes, then you're good to go. And again, I try to notice, are other things going on in my life where that answer is, well, it used to be, yes, I was fine opening my Sephora app, but now I'm worried about politics, or, there's people that are nervous about other things that are wearing off on me. And if I open my Sephora app, I'm in danger of, having this regulation change, this answer, can I regulate it, to be no rather than yes. And again, sometimes that's imagining myself with the thing, did I plan on buying this already, or is this a new thing that just popped up that seems very intriguing, and that is there, and once I'm thinking about hitting buy, it's just open to the next thing, like what's next. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'm feeling driven. So I need to close that and make a cup of tea. But I feel like at this point in time, I'm able to regulate this. And then also being able to take advantage of luck. People try to make no-buy rules, and sometimes they'll make exceptions, like, well, if this specific brand comes out with something, I'm okay to break my low buy, which is great. I mean, that's at least thinking about what's important to you beforehand and what things you're most interested in. The only thing that I see about this time of year, that there's so many things that I don't know about. And I like variety, I like surprise, I like interesting things coming out. And that idea of luck, that things that I don't even know that are going to come up are going to be things that I'm going to want. And if I've gotten into I'm doing a no buy, and something like this comes up, and it really is something that I would love to have and that would be important and special. The thing is, if I break my no buy, then I am required to feel ashamed about it. Hang on, the aforementioned tea. And once I start feeling ashamed of myself, then I start a little story that goes something like, well, you never stick to anything, and why can't you stick to things, and what's wrong with you? And now, see, I'm getting a little verklempt apparently. You start running those tragic songs in your head that are very destructive to you becoming a better person in the end, because it just really beats you down. Why aren't you? Why can't you? You're a failure. You failed at this. Why do you always, make promises you don't intend to keep? And so that idea of beating ourselves up, I try and really look at that, because even if we are shopping to fill some deep wounding inside of us, my yoga teacher once said, you can't shame yourself for what's kept you alive. And I think about that sometimes, the probably inappropriate coping mechanisms that I've used that have gotten me through situations that then I come out on the other side and go, well, that was not a great decision, but here I am and I'm going to do better. And so trying not to shame my former self for it. So I'm trying to get rid of some of that shame element in my life. And it's like, I'm becoming a more thoughtful person, a more thoughtful shopper, a more thoughtful consumer. And I'm okay being able to be calm, to be thoughtful, to buy things, and for it to be okay. For me not to buy too many things, but not for me to feel so poverty-stricken that I can't buy anything. This middle road, looking for this mental health as I feel it for me. And I don't make those decisions for anybody else, but I'm just trying to take away that whole, you broke your no buy, you should feel ashamed. You should feel ashamed and worthless and yada, yada, yada. So I'm trying to take all of those things out of my thought process and go, maybe that was not a great decision, but it was a decision. And when I, understand what was going on at that moment and what it was, that I can do better the next time, and I can learn and I can grow and I can be, moving in a positive direction without all the self-flagellation that feels like it's required if you're going to go into a no buy or a low buy. Now, that's not to say if you're in that addictive category, that you may definitely need to do a no buy or a low buy. Or if you're feeling so overwhelmed, you need guardrails and ideas to do it. I feel like that's not me. And so this is just a different perspective to go with as far as the why not to do a low buy. And I think I'm going to end talking about a book by Gay Hendricks called This is the Big Leap, and I'll try and link that in the box below. But he has what he calls the upper limit problem, where we have beliefs that maybe we don't realize, and he comes through with 4 of them. And one of those is that idea of not feeling like you deserve better things. And I think sometimes that can be as insidious as some of the other things that we normally think of when it comes to this idea. But the upper limit problem is our mindsets not allowing us to go beyond where we are, either monetarily or love or, you know, all the things that we think of as being really good, that somehow we have this limit on what we believe that we should be able to have, or do or be. And so I'm dealing with this, and I feel like all of the things in life come back to, you know, have I really dealt with these poverty issues and these worth issues and these other things? And the universe will always test me once I feel like, oh, I've got it. And the universe goes, have you? Here you go. Here's a test. But I feel like part of that issue is going through those things in the mind that are those upper limit problems. And sometimes we don't realize that they're there. But I feel like the poverty mentality that's kind of lurking in the background is for me an upper limit problem. That I have to believe that I can walk this middle road, this even keel, this place that feels like good mental health, and still enjoy the things in life that are good and wonderful, that make living worthwhile. You know, I can have pretty things, you know, in moderation. I can eat wonderful things in moderation. I can drink wonderful things in moderation. I can enjoy them, but I'm not a slave to them. And that idea of, you know, I am worthy of nice things. Like there's nothing intrinsically wrong with me that I should not have these things. That's something that I'm working through. But if you ever, I would suggest everybody read the Big Leap by Hendricks, just to see if maybe that's an issue for you. You know, maybe if that has some resonance in you as far as the things that keep us from becoming really anything that we could be, the great things that we could be. So anyway, I am not doing a low buy. So expect more videos for some of the things that I am picking up or have picked up. Like I said, there is no shame if you are doing a low buy or a no buy, or if you're not doing a low buy or a no buy. In fact, we should just think of this, if we can, as I am making decisions. I'm trying to be in the best possible health for my mental health, my physical surroundings health, and all of that. And when we get, you know, done with the decisions, we can see how they went. And if they didn't come out like we expected, we can make new decisions. And there is no shame to our former self for any of those. Here we are. We're just getting better as best we can. So anyway, there you go. There's my musings for today. This is Monica with M is For, and enjoy whatever that you're doing for this holiday season. Just really enjoy it, if at all possible. If not for the things, but for all the feelings and things that you're practicing and becoming. So anyway, we shall see you in the next video. Be well, everyone. Bye-bye.